Hello boys and girls, welcome to our platform once again. Today we are doing a Cambridge primary checkpoint science paper 1. This paper was written April 2018. So even those who are participating or those who are doing the ZIMSEC syllabus may also participate in this tutorial. Let's proceed on to our first question. Number 1, which is saying some solids dissolve in water and some do not. Complete the table. 1 has been done for you. Solid added to water, and the other column is saying does the solid dissolve in water. So here we have iron, which is a metal. Iron. Does it dissolve in? Does it dissolve? No. Salt, does it dissolve? Yes, salt dissolves. So on salt you can write yes here. Yes, so yes on salt. Sand, does it dissolve? It simply means is it soluble or insoluble, right? If it's soluble, it means that it dissolves. If it's insoluble, it means that it does not dissolve. So for sand, it's no, sand does not dissolve. Right, silver, does it dissolve? Silver does not dissolve. It's insoluble, so that's a no. Sugar, does it dissolve? Sugar dissolves, so that's a yes. That's a yes. Sugar is soluble, so it dissolves. Okay, fine. So remember that substances that dissolve, we call those substances, we call them, we can say that they are soluble. Why? Because they dissolve. Those that do not dissolve, they are insoluble. Okay, fine. Let's proceed on to the next question, that is number 2. Number 2 is saying that a mass, force and weight can be measured. Complete the sentences. Choose from the following words. Each word can be used once, more than once, or not at all. Then we have these keywords here that are highlighted. The first one is kilograms, meters, newtons, and seconds. Okay, fine. Then the first statement is saying that mass is measured in. So the units of mass is measured in kilograms. Kilograms. Mass is measured in kilograms. Okay, fine. Then force is measured in newtons. Force is measured in newtons. Right. We go on to weight. Weight is measured in newtons again. Why? Because weight is a force, right? Weight and mass, these are two different things. These are two different items, right? Weight is a force, but mass is not a force, right? I'm sure I shall explain further in our next tutorial that we'll be looking especially on forces, different types of forces, gravity, upthrust, air resistance, water resistance, friction, and other forces that we do in Cambridge. Okay, fine. Let's proceed on to the next question. That is number 3, which is saying that complete the sentences about food chains. Choose from the following words. Each word can be used once, more than once, or not at all. The first statement is saying food chains start with a dash. Food chains start with a. The correct answer here is a producer. Producer. Each and every food chain begins or starts with a producer. A producer, we are referring to any plant, right? Any plant or any green plant, right? That's a producer. Right, then we go on to the second statement, which is saying an animal that eats plants is called a, because of the keyword eats, right? And this one is just eating plants. We call it a consumer because it consumes plants. So it's a consumer, right? The other one is saying that an animal that eats other animals. This is an animal that eats other animals is called a, the correct answer is predator. Predator. This is the correct answer for this one. We can also look at some of these words, like we also have the word prey. Prey, this is the animal that is eaten by other animals. An animal that is eaten by other animals, that's a prey. Then habitat, this is where animal live. And consumer, we have already explained that. Predator, we have explained that. And producer. Okay, let's proceed on to the next question. You do that, you take your 3 marks on that question. All right, fine. We are on number 4. All right, yes, number 4, which saying drums are used to make a sound. Drums are used to make a sound. So there's a skin of a drum. We call it the membrane also. To those who do this instrument is called a membranophone because of that membrane. Okay, and we have a drumstick. Then the question is saying complete the sentences. A is saying that the drum makes a higher pitch sound when the skin is. The correct answer is when the skin is tight or tightened, right? Is tightened, right? When the skin is tightened. Okay, fine. Then we go on to the other part, which is saying that the drum makes a louder sound when when uh, um, when it is hitting harder, when it is hit harder. Okay, right? When it is hit harder or when it is hitting harder. Okay, fine. Right. So that's so what we have to actually make sure of here, especially when we are doing the concept sound, right? We have to note the difference between higher notch, higher pitch and louder sound. There's a difference between the two. We shall explain that in detail when we do the topic science in our next tutorial. Number 5, this is about materials. If you look at these materials, we have material A, B, C, D, and we have the next column, which is asking us, in fact, it's telling us whether they are hard or soft. It's a hard or soft material. Then the other column is telling us about the material, whether it's non-magnetic or magnetic. If it's magnetic, it means that it attracts to a magnet. If it's non-magnetic, it means that it does not attract to a magnet. So then the last column is telling us whether it's soluble or insoluble. So soluble, as we said before, it simply means that it dissolve, right? Does it dissolve? If it dissolves, then it's soluble. If it does not dissolve, then it's insoluble, right? So that is the information that we have been given concerning these materials, that is material A and B and C and D. Then the question comes and say, a mixture contains A and B. Which method would you use to separate this mixture? Right? A mixture contains A and B. So what do? I go to A. I go to A and I look A. A is hard. These are the properties. I have to go for the properties of A. A is hard. A is non-magnetic. It means that it is not attracted to a magnet. And A is also insoluble, which means that it does not dissolve in water. Okay, fine. Then I also go to B. B is hard. Fine. B is magnetic. Okay, it means that B is attracted to a magnet. Okay, B is insoluble. B does not dissolve in water. Okay, that's what it means. So here he's saying that which method would you use to separate this mixture A and B? A and B. Right. So the property that you go for here, as you can see, A is non-magnetic and B is magnetic. The best way to use is magnetic attraction. Magnetic attraction. So you tick this box. You tick this box. Magnetic attraction. However, you are supposed to put a tick. You just put a tick as indicated here. Okay, fine. Let's proceed on to the next one. That is B. B is saying that a solution contains D in water. Which method would you use to separate pure D from this solution? We also have been told that it is a solution. You must also remember that, boys and girls, solute plus a solvent gives us a solution. We shall also dwell on that in our next tutorial as well. Which method would you use to separate pure D from this solution, which is D and water? Okay, fine. So what you do, you go back to the table which is containing information. You go to D. D is hard, D is non-magnetic, D is soluble. If it's soluble, it means that it dissolves, right? So D dissolves in water. D dissolves in water. For example, it can be salt, right? Something that dissolves in water. So D dissolves in water. For me to separate D from water, I need to use a method that is called evaporation. Evaporation. That is the method that I use. I evaporate all the water, then the salt will remain behind. So I use evaporation. This is what I use here. Okay, fine. We go on to the next part of the question. We are still on the same question, which is saying a mixture contains C and water. Which method would you use to separate this mixture to get C and water? To get C and water. Okay, fine. So a mixture contains C and water. So you go on to the properties. You go to the properties. You go into the properties. Okay, fine. C is what? C is soft. C is non-magnetic. C is insoluble. So if it's insoluble, it means that C does not dissolve in water. So if it does not dissolve in water, it means that for us to separate C with water, we need to filter, right? Yes, so the correct method here is filtration. Right? Filtration. This is the correct method that we use. Okay, fine. We shall proceed on to the next one. That is D. And D is saying that a mixture contains C, D, and water. Right? There is C, there's material C, there's material D, and there is water. Alright, fine. Which two methods would you use to separate the mixture to get both pure C and pure D? Okay, so let's go on to you go back to the properties, that table which is showing us information about these properties. So we go there and look for C and D and the properties of C and D. Right, so here we are. Material C is soft, material C is non-magnetic and is insoluble. Then material D is hard, material D is non-magnetic as well. They are both non-magnetic, and but I can say that material D here is soluble. It means that material D dissolves in water. So what it means that? It means that the solution now contains material D. Right? And in material D, I mean the solution that we have, yes, that is made from material D contains something that is a substance that is C. And C is something that is insoluble, which means that you can even you can see it, you can even touch it, because it doesn't dissolve in water, it doesn't go anywhere. So you can see it, you can touch it, right? So what you're supposed to do here, the first method here is since D dissolves in water because it's soluble, for us to get rid of C first, you then have to filter. If you use filtration, right? So first of all, use filtration. Then we go on to what is left in the filter paper. If you filter, what is left in the filter paper, that is the residue. Our residue will be material C. Right, that will be material C. Right. Then material D will be our filtrate. It means that it is that liquid that we are going to collect through the filtration process, right? But that liquid, it contains water and material D. So for us to get material D, we then have to evaporate the excess water and remain with material D. So the two methods that we use here is filtration and evaporation. Okay, so let's go back here. Right, I'm sure this is the question. Yes, so you have to tick filtration here, this one, filtration and evaporation yes. So these are the two methods that we use to separate. Okay, fine. Then the last one, but not least, is number 6 that we are doing here. It's about our body parts, right? Yes, it's about body parts. Right, we have the question is saying humans have organs inside their bodies. Cats have similar organs inside their bodies, right? I'm sure you looked at body systems, right? So What is the question saying? Let me try to maybe choose this so that perhaps maybe we can. Okay, fine. I'm sure you are able to see. So A is saying which letter shows the organ the cat uses to breathe. Right, and we know that for us to breathe we use lungs, that is the respiratory system. So the organ is organ C. This one is very simple and easy. Then B is saying that which letter shows the organ that pumps blood around the cat's body. And the organ that pumps blood is the heart, right? So in this case it is E. It is E, right? Then we proceed on to the next question, which is saying which letter shows an organ that digests food the cat eats. This is about digestion, the digestive system. So the organ that digests food, we're looking at the here we have the stomach, right? The stomach, and we also have the intestines. B, the intestines also, right? So we have two here. We have D. You can either say D or B. In D, in the stomach, that is when gastric juices are produced, and digestion actually takes place in the stomach through those chemicals, using the chemicals that are produced, which we call gastric juices. Then in the intestines, digestion of protein and absorption also of nutrients, right, takes place. Okay, fine. So for this one it's D and P. It's D and B. Okay, fine. Then number 7 is saying the picture shows an electrical cable. Label the picture. Choose from the following words. Okay, right. Cable cover is dish. Cable cover is dish. Cable cover is plastic, right? Cable cover is plastic. If you look at these materials, right, cable cover cannot be metal. Why? Because you'll be electrocuted, right? So, and you look at this one, wire is metal. Wire is metal, right? So in other case, we're saying this wire is a conductor and the cable is an insulator. Okay, an insulator is a material that does not allow electricity to pass through, and a conductor is a material that allows electricity to pass through. But we also have what we call good conductors and bad conductors of electricity. However, we are going to look at that in our next tutorial. Goodbye for now. Please do not forget to subscribe and share this tutorial to some of your friends so that they can pass also their exams.